Welcome, family, out there to another episode of Real Talk in Real Estate. Of course, I'm your man, Corey, the Money Man Smith. What's going on, philosopher?
What's the deal, man?
Oh, man, I can't call another day another dollar. What's up, closer?
You know me, same old thing, different day.
Same old thing, different day.
I don't know about that.
Same shit, different toilet, what I say. What's going on?
That's a different one, though.
Huh?
That's a different one.
That's a different one. Hey, but look, you finally heard some Nipsey Hussle songs, huh? or Nipsey Russell, as you call it. You know what I'm saying? Nipsey Russell. You finally heard some Nipsey Hussle songs, huh? What you think?
I heard two Nipsey Hussle videos. I watched him do an interview on the Man Cave. We were pretty fly.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Is he gonna get in the rotation of my listens? Probably not.
Yeah, okay. Because all you do is listen to Chop and Screw.
And all the old stuff in the early 90s and the early 2000s. Like I was listening to Juvenile 400 Degrees the other day.
Juvenile.
Oh,
You know that album,
400 Degrees.
That was a classic.
So that means you listen to Master P too. Make them say, Oh, man, I ain't messing with y'all. All right, so we here to talk today about the topic of technology. Technology, and is it a benefit to the agent or is it a hindrance to the agent? Times are changing not only in the real estate industry, but in many different industries. And they're changing because you just about got an app or some kind of technology for any damn thing that you do, right? So now, since we, talking about real estate, we're going to talk about technology and how it affects the agent and their clients when it comes to actually real estate. So I would throw this thing to the closer and ask him, in your opinion, do you think technology is a benefit to an agent that leverages it or a hindrance to an agent?
I definitely lean towards benefit, primarily because you can maximize your time and efforts, but you also got to, again, self-aware. You got to know your client in order to determine if technology would be a true benefit for them in the overall scale. But if I was just taking in little micro pieces, I say, yeah. And what look, philosopher looking at me like, what you talking about? Well, I'm explaining.
I'm looking because he's gonna use the technology word micro.
Yeah,
micro pieces.
This is what I mean by
In
that.
the macro, actually, I think what you're
No, I'm talking about in the micro. The macro, you got to determine whether technology is a benefit in the macro of dealing with your clients. That's being self-aware and knowing your clients. In the micro portion of that, it still would be beneficial because it's going to speed up the prep work and what you need to do in those little pieces before you get to that end result. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's going to make my paperwork faster. It's going to make, instead of me handwriting a 14-page contract, I can put in the basic spots on the screen and it'll auto-populate it into the contract, and all I do is have to check it. So, that cuts time. I mean, think about that. You writing a contract that, you got, what is it, 14 pages? Philosopher, 15 pages about?
Okay, on the 1-4 contract, and you write the address in
9
different spots, actually. You write it once on the first page, and then you write it 8 different spots on the next page.
And that's just the address. We ain't talking about going in and talking about percentages or any of this other stuff that, days and all that stuff. So that's where it plays a role, is I think on the micro side of it, even if you don't use it overall, on the micro portion of it, it definitely is going to make you more efficient.
Yeah. And I'm laughing because, you know what I'm saying, I remember the story you was telling us about the other day about the agent that handwritten the contract, you know what I'm saying? And it just, in today's world where everybody kind of use technology to write a contract, it kind of automatically discredits an agent if you come through with a handwritten contract.
I mean, it has to be a reason why you handwrite. And then think about it like this. If you're wrong. See, that's the other side about technology is there's auto checks that's kind of in there that's going to make sure. I mean, you still got to go through it, but you automatically see something wrong if I put, I don't want to say, if I'm fixing, I don't want to tell them to pay, but if I put the numbers in the wrong spot.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that if I'm typing it in and it says down payment and I type in X amount of dollars.
Right.
Earnest money, X amount of dollars. It's going to auto-populate it in the right spots.
Right.
Yep.
So that's why I say it can, even on the micro level, even if you don't take it to the next level and send it electronically to your client and have them sign off on it, that's the macro. That's taking the whole thing and making it technology savvy.
Yes.
But you got to know your client for that. Because some clients, they still want you to sit down with them and be there, and they like wet signatures and stuff like that.
The personal touch. Now, you're saying, in a lot of this stuff here, when it comes to contracts, they actually have kind of certain checks and balances to where you don't make those certain mistakes. So it actually is a help to an actual agent. And a lot of technology is actually created to kind of decrease the human error. Yeah. And if you writing a contract, you know what I mean? Like, it could be all kinds of errors, which there was in that contract. Man. And not only on top of that, anybody don't have to be a lawyer to know that you're not supposed to handwrite a contract in pencil. Yeah. So to add insult to injury, you handwriting a contract and then you write one in pencil. It's just like, well, do you really know what you're doing? Yeah. But anyways, we get now. I digress because I'm saying Walt had my mind spinning with that story the other day. But we gonna see what the philosopher thinks. We know philosopher likes to take an opposite approach. We gonna see. How do you feel? But let's see your philosophy on this.
Well, in pertaining to the fact of technology, as whether it's a hindrance or a benefit. In some situations, since the closer decided to put the disclosure, whether either or, depending on the client, I can piggyback and keep it the same way. Depending on who you're dealing with, determines whether or not technology can be useful or a hindrance. If you're dealing with someone who is not tech savvy and who doesn't understand how to do an email signature, who doesn't understand how to, I'm going to say it, quote unquote, open up an email and see an attachment. We have people out there who still struggle in those areas. We have to be mindful of also pertaining to how you communicate with them. I know these millennials love to do the text, Snapchat, Facebook messaging. I think now is a new way to talk to different clientele. Those are the type of things that I really believe creates a disconnect from the agent to their quote unquote potential, because you can't really understand who they are. We are taught that there are certain things that we can read and tell from just a general conversation, whether we're on the phone or in person. So we are, as a true agent, some of your techniques that that are 100% reliable, you're not able to use it because technology, the one thing that's supposed to help you, kind of hinders that from you going forward. As far as writing contracts, true enough, it does make a big difference because we got time to write no contract with a pencil and still try to go take it over there to get it signed. But I just do believe when it comes down to communicating with different folks, whether they be a client or a customer, technology can be a major hindrance because everybody can hide behind the screen and say and feel like who they are, or what they think, or they're not.
So when you talk specifically about a real estate agent and their business, the way that they conduct business, I think a lot of times people have become a little bit lazy, to be honest, because technology kind of make people lazy a little bit, or whatever the case may be. So a lot of kind of you guys point to where it's not as much face-to-face interaction. If there's a contract that needs to be explained, less and less is it you're sitting across the table from your actual client in order to explain line by line, what the contract means, what's going on, exactly what they're signing. So my question is that as an industry, because people and agents themselves are becoming more lazy, so to speak, when it comes to actually dealing with clients, do you think, and I throw this to the philosopher, because I'm saying this is kind of your point, do you think that it's kind of demographic specific? So do you think that maybe the younger generation feels that it's okay and the older generation feels that it's not? because they losing the personal touch.
Yes, for the older generation, yes. And not only for how you see it, but because of the idea of being able to explain it line by line and having a person there to understand what this means. Most of the time when we do a contract and we send it over, it's going to be over the phone. Every so often, we'll bring somebody in here. All right, we're going to go over a contract really quick. Every so often, we do that with a client. And even for an agent as in their craft and the contract being the main tool in their craft, really don't go over. And that's us as agents being lazy and not really respecting what we do. We have all ran across that agent who's like, well, what are they talking about the water rights right here? Well, it has to do with if you had a okay, you know what I'm saying? You just don't, because we don't have it in most cases, because we're not in Galveston or we don't have major waterways here in Texas outside in the country, and we're in the suburbs. You just don't have to deal with it, but you still need to understand how to explain it, because somebody will ask you that, because you're asking them to sign this document, and there are 11 pages and 22 different paragraphs and bylaws within it. And what technology does just says, well, look, here you go, sign it. All we look at is the price, the date, earnest money, close. That's all everybody kind of really focus on. But when we don't take the time to know it for ourselves and being able to discuss it with someone else, because we can just hit in, sign it, and say, we are right, this is what it is.
Right.
That's what we become.
It's a big problem. That's kind of a whole different topic. The fact that real estate agents are not educated as far as the contract goes. They just know, hey, look, you fill in this blank, you fill in this blank. Yeah, he did open up a can. You know what I'm saying? They just know, hey, fill in this blank, fill in this blank. But then when anybody asks about anything in between, and then for majority of real estate agents, instead of them just saying, hey, look, I'm not exactly sure, let me go get you the right answer, they come up with some BS. They ends up putting their client in trouble. But anyways, that's a completely different topic. That's a different episode. We gonna stay on. Hey, look, you're hitting on this one.
Usually y'all on me, like I'm opening up all the cans. Look, y'all opening up the cans.
Hey, they open up the can of words. Hey, but I'm gonna throw this back to Walt, and I'm gonna see, and I'm gonna get the closer's take on it. Do you feel like technology is hurting the industry because it's becoming,
No, I don't think it's hurting the industry per se. I think that you run into the same problems, to tag off on what the philosopher said. You run into the same problems because it comes down to the individual agent. It comes down to what you think about as your profession. Are you in this game just to kind of make a little bit money? Like what's your reasoning? Or you think this is HGTV? You know what I mean? I always laugh at that because technology, the beautiful thing about technology, I think, as an agent, is the complex ideas that I can take and learn in a smaller amount of time because I got access. I think technology gives me access. So not only does it give me access, but it also gives me speed and it gives me efficiency. But I still have to do the foundational things like check and recheck. You know what I mean? Let me make sure they got it. Let me answer the questions that they have. You still got to do the normal stuff that you would do if we were back in the 80s handwriting these contracts and handwriting this paperwork, okay? But I think technology helps, or it can help. It can either be a tool of fortune or it could be a tool of demise for you. Just depends on how you utilize it.
Right.
And I think that's kind of my take on it. I try and use it to make me more efficient at what I already do. But I don't lose any of the natural closer stuff that I do because of technology.
Oh, of course. And I think there's pros and cons to everything a little bit. And to your point, which leads to my next question, is that as technology, kind of brings data a little bit easier to real estate agents, it brings it easier to the consumer as well. Mm-hmm. So then you have those consumers that become obsessed because now they're in this process of actually going to purchase an actual house, right? So then when they have access to this data, is it hurting the agent's business and the way that they do business now that the consumers have the same access or kind of more access than they used to have? Because now some consumers feel like they know more than you because they have access.
Look, I'm going to jump in on that one already because you got me going on that one already. Is the funny thing about technology is it gives consumers that false sense to a degree that, and I'm not talking about every consumer, right? There's some people, just like education, you go to college. Some people can do online college. Some people can do, I got to be in the classroom, right? Some people consume it differently, right? And you got your smart people that consume everything. You be like, man, how'd you get that? But that's just the way they learn. That's the way they pick up stuff. So I'm not generalizing every consumer because there's some consumers out there that can do this on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To a degree. But I always relate it back to law, right? I can go into the law library and I can learn everything about law. But you better believe if a case come up on the closer one day, I'm hiring an attorney. Okay? I'm just
As
keeping,
you should.
I'm just keeping it real. I can know everything about law. I can go through, and that's the technology is going to give me the access to all that information, and I can look at past cases. I can play my own CSI or something like at the crib, right? Oh, yeah, this is what I think, and, we should do this. And I can come up with a game plan. But you better believe I'm going to call a professional, and I'm going to bring them in there because they do it every day. They in and out of these contracts. They in and out of these situations. It's more top of mind for them. So because they do hundreds of thousands of interactions in this scenario, even knowing the nuances of it, they going to see stuff that I'm not going to see because I don't do it every day, even though I could have read every law book out of Harvard Law. Unless I'm educated and I'm in there doing it on a day-to-day, there's a difference. And that's the way I think of real estate agents is you got all the Zillows and the blah, 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 and all the things that's out there. And people think, I think there's a rage right now in the industry where people think, oh, well, I can do it. This ain't that hard. But the sad part about it is there's so many protections that they don't get.
Mm.
And they might have got lucky. Maybe they went through the transaction and there wasn't a hitch.
Mm.
And in their mind, they might have said, I saved money. I didn't pay the 3 to 6% that I would have had to pay an agent.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You probably left at least 6 to 10% on the table that you didn't get because the expertise of an agent that comes in and makes your house look more beautiful than it did because we know which pictures to put out there. That tells the story of your house and the neighborhood that brings people in there. That's all we do. All we do is find people for houses. So how many times have I come across somebody or the philosophers come across somebody that we got a house for sale, but we come across them because we're looking for a buyer for something else, but this house works. So they end up buying this house. It's all those things that I think that help and hinder in technology. Sometimes it gives the perception. My whole point behind that is it'll give the consumer the perception that they know more than they really know in the process. You can only count maybe 5%. I mean, what you think, philosopher? 5-10% of those people that truly can do it without us, and they're covering or at least 80% of the bases that we would have covered.
Right.
But they still missing stuff. Even that 5% is missing stuff. They missing maybe the title policy cover, or they missing the warranty, or they missing, there's a certain amount of dollars that they probably could have saved. I mean, we got statistics out here that show it every single day that people that do it themselves leave money on the table. There's statistics that show this.
and they think they're saving themselves money, but they're costing themselves more money.
Yeah.
But it just depends on how they rationalize it in their head. So I'll throw this to philosopher. Same question, man. Do you think the fact consumers have access to more data kind of devalues the agent?
It can, because every consumer, every generational consumer is a little bit more intelligent, has a little more understanding, is a little more savvy when it comes to the technology. So it's up to the agent to show that their value is still here. And if they allow a consumer to devalue them, they will, and they won't think twice about it. Because like I said, like you guys say, they believe that they can do it, and they believe that they're saving themselves money. This comes back to the idea that the agent, number one, has to know his stuff. He has to understand what's going on. He or she has to understand how the transaction, how the paperwork, how to use the technology that's there at our fingertips in a way that allows a consumer to realize, okay, I need you as an agent to help me get through this transaction. Also, when it comes down to some technologies, when we're back to the idea of whether or not it's a hindrance or beneficial, I believe when it comes down to something like, we got the emails, the what we call the CRMs, which was a contact managing system. Those systems are in place to help us keep contact with different clientele from the old-fashioned way of just picking up the phone and calling on a regular. So you have the emails, the email touches, the email complaint campaigns that they put in place to contact a potential client, whether it be once a week, 3 times a month. In the old days, that was you actually picking up the phone and calling them, talking to them to make those constant touches. And what technology has done is made you feel like, well, you don't need to do that aspect, so you can focus on what? Calling somebody else to try to see if you can find more business. I just believe if we can continue to keep that in mind, constantly speaking to the folks and getting with the folks, because it's still a relationship business, as Walter says. When you're at doing one thing, you still have somebody across the way that may need your service, and they see you there. You still got to be able to verbally do what we do. Mm-hmm. And I think the millennials will, if they're coming into the business, will struggle with that because they have not really been honing their ability to verbally do what we do or verbally represent themselves. Everybody can represent themselves on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, right? Mm-hmm. You can go on YouTube and they teach you how to make yourself look better than what you are. Once again, using the technology. But when you get in front of somebody, there is nothing there. It's just you and that person. You have to be able to convey everything that they quote unquote saw online about you, or on through the text message that you may have sent, or through the great emails that you write. If you're not able to communicate that one-on-one, you still have lost the client and you have done a disservice at that moment.
And then they kind of feel taken advantage of because you are not who you actually portray to be through technology, through online, whatever the case may be. I got you. So then the next thing is that, we kind of talked about a little bit about how agents, technology kind of have gotten some agents to be lazy and that type of thing. And I do feel like technology has helped not only the agent, but actually the loan officers. The whole mortgage process has become easier because of technology. The closing times have become faster because we're able to get documentation back in a faster fashion. So in some ways, technology has actually been able to make the process a lot more convenient and more pleasurable for not only the real estate agent, but also for the consumer. So my question to the closer is that how do you feel like, we talk, positives as far as agents and stuff like that. How do you feel like technology has made a better, more pleasurable experience, not only for the seller, but also for the buyer? How has technology affected that?
Well, some of the very things that we just said. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be in the room. I got an out-of-state out-of-state seller, and then I got a buyer that's here. Well, that out-of-state seller does not have to come here because of technology to close when we close. We can send that to them, get them to sign off, and get it back here and still close in a timely fashion. Same thing with, older clients and things of that nature. So there's times when technology definitely plays a positive role in just convenience, for the consumer. I think it works that way with agents too. You know, I might be agent from ABC and you might be agent from DFE. And we can communicate instead of us making that call, which might take 10 minutes. We got on the phone. I can shoot you a quick email or a text and we can do a communication. We can do quick communication. I can do all that while I'm in another meeting. You know what I mean? And everybody's on a break or a bathroom break or, you know, something. So I think to answer your question, you know, technology can be a plus on many levels in regards to convenience as long as you don't utilize it or as long as you don't use it as a detriment to what you do. Like technology doesn't change us. I think technology exposes us. Technology exposes the type of agent and consumer that you are. You know what I mean? If I'm an agent that relies solely on technology, I would you know, I would seem to think that if I never make personal contact with nobody, that I'm not getting a lot of relationships. I might close deals still, because technically, you don't need to meet me with technology in order to close a deal. That's paperwork. But how many times would you gonna put your trust in me? How many times you gonna send somebody else to me? How many times you gonna talk to your neighbors, your business associates, or people at church about me? How many times you gonna call me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later and say, "Well, Walter, I have a relationship with this guy. He checks in on me. He watched my kids grow up. I invited him to my wedding." Da 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 da. See, I think that's what technology either enhances or takes away from you is either it's going to enhance your business because it's going to allow you to do all the concise stuff so that you can spend more time on the good stuff, being at the weddings, being at the events, you know what I mean? Just checking in on your client to say hello, you know what I mean? Or it's going to expose you where you have no relationship, you have no contact really other than through the technology, and you're just a paper trail and a number. I think that's, I mean, in my opinion of it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Philosopher.
Solid.
How do you think technology kind of enhances the process?
It enhanced the process 80% most on the loan side because there are so many documents and so many things that has to be done to complete a loan for a purchase. You know, on the real estate side, we got the wonderful contract, the financing addendum, and whatever amendments that we got to push back and forth, whether it be repairs, change of closing, change of amounts of money for closing. Our side is really limited. It's only primarily to how we can keep up with our clients, how we can stay top of mind with the technology. But I believe 80% of the benefit of technology is for the mortgage industry, due to the loan disclosure, due to the loan application has to be done, due to the appraisal form that has to be done, due to all the verification that has to be done, BOEs, income, and all those type of things. All those particular documents makes it a simple process for you because you can just email. Or right now, I think y'all do the portal where you open up the portal and everything is there, and you can upload videos to help people folks when they try to do it in the middle of the night, first thing in the morning when you don't have access to the lender just yet, and it allows them to feel more comfortable with what they're doing. That's what I just believe there. Even though the lender or the LO has to still get the phone call 8:00. What in the hell is this? What are you talking about? And you have to explain it. You never lose sight of that touch. I just think it's more prevalent for you guys versus us as agents. We gotta still have to go out there and take a person and, hey, how you doing? My name is Simon. Let me talk with professionals. I was just in the area, want to talk to you about your home. How do you feel about the value of your home? We still have to go and do that no matter what. We still have to meet a certain amount of people, create a relationship with this person, put them here just to use the technology that we have in place, keep up with the person. And so I just believe because of that, we kind of lose sight. We forget that we got to go do that. And Walter can tell you, the agents that we work with, you can tell who knows how to do it and who doesn't. You can tell when you get them on the phone and they're not sure what to say, they're not sure how to respond, they're not sure what they're doing, because you can hear the indecisiveness in their voice. They're not comfortable just talking on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But you get off the phone, they shoot you that 2-page text about what's what. Hey, hold on, man. I just talked to you. I don't understand what you're telling me now. Or you get that beautiful email. But, look, all the adjectives are right. Verb and adjective equation correct. Prepositional phrase look
no
great.
run-on sentences.
No run-on sentences. You get that email like, ow! Let me talk to this person on the phone. Get him on the phone. Yeah. What the hell? You just wrote this beautifully eloquent email to me, but you can't say nothing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is they might not have wrote the email.
Yeah.
They might have had an assistant write the email or something. You know what I mean?
But you know what? To get on the point that he had mentioned in there too, that's coming down the road that I think will help technology too is that technology does is, just that aspect of seeing the whole page. I, as an agent, we the primary source. Everybody else is not that they're any less important or not, but they're all around. We're the center of the wheel. The mortgage people, the title people, all that stuff, they all contacting us, right? The nice thing is, as technology has progressed, and you're starting to see it now, is now everybody's seeing what everybody's doing. So now I can talk more fluently to my client about where we are in the stage because I can see it. Versus think about the time consumption it used to be calling people. Hey, did you order the appraisal? Okay, when's the inspector coming out? Okay, hey, and then you're talking to 8 different people in one day on one deal.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
And now you can either see it all or it's seamlessly passing back and forth. I mean, I sent an email out this morning trying to close a deal early this month, right? And I sent it out to 4 different people. That's all part of the title company, the mortgage person,
Mm-hmm.
and they all saw it, so they all got to respond within the chain. That took me 2 minutes.
Right. Those email chains get confusing, you know that?
They can. Look, if you don't stay on top of them.
If you don't stay on top of them, or if you choose to ignore them.
Yeah, you got to read them, right? When they come through, you got to read them. Because if not, by the time you get to it, it's 10 more things. You was at the second one, and it's got 10 more down at the bottom. You sitting there reading. You got to read all the way through the story.
And don't let it be an attachment somewhere that you got to get hold of. Man, where the attachment? It's in the email. Checking every one of them.
I do see technology actually, making the process a lot easier for communication purposes as well. Because just like you say, from the mortgage standpoint, you can log into the portal, kind of see where you're at. And even we have this thing now where, you get an updated text message. Like you don't need anybody to kind of waste, well, I wouldn't say waste, but, spend time calling you and taking you out of your daily routine just to kind of give you an update on your file. Technology is automatically giving you these updates. But one of the last things I kind of want to talk about, and I'm really interested in seeing what the closer's take is on this. Because we already know how he was thinking about the iBuyers and the iSellers and this other type of thing, right? So as technology progresses and it makes things more convenient for not only the client, but also for the real estate agent, I'm interested in kind of where technology is going to take the industry as a whole, as real estate agents go. So my question is that as technology progresses, do you ever see it becoming this thing where video chat will completely replace the face-to-face interaction, them coming into an office, you doing face-to-face? Would sending a text message or somebody viewing a house, I don't know what it will look like, but somebody send you a text message,
like
you set them an appointment. Yeah, you set them an appointment to go take a look at this house here. Your appointment set for this time. Your code would only work for this time. Kind of, my idea is kind of where do you see the future going as far as technology, and do you think, I guess, the video chat and people letting themselves inside the house is a viable option for the real estate agent?
Oh, you're giving it to me first.
Yes.
Well, I think that at some point we'll almost get to Matrix level. You know what I'm saying? Where you're doing virtual stuff, you got the goggles on. I see it, you coming into my office. As you see, you still coming into my office. Still the facilitator of the whole deal. But you coming into my office and maybe I picked out 10 houses for you. We never set foot in a house. They put on the little virtual goggles and literally through the programming, they can walk through the house with these goggles on inside my office and pick out a house. Be like, oh yeah, I like this house. Oh, the neighbors look good. Neighborhood looks good. Da 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 da. And then they just sign. All right, Walter, let's write a contract.
Don't give them too much. We gotta go trademark that. You know what I'm saying? We gotta go trademark that. Then we gonna sell that one right there. We gonna sell that idea right there.
But I think the real estate agent is like a microwave. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. When the microwave came out in the late 70s, mid 70s, late 70s, everybody started cooking on a microwave. It was the hot thing. So they stopped cooking on a stove. And over time, it was hot and it was cool. And they was like, ooh, I can make popcorn. But then they started realizing a steak don't taste the same through the microwave as it do on a grill. The chicken ain't the same. Okay, and they find that the public you use the microwave for certain stuff. Let me warm up some food from yesterday. Oh, that leftover pizza. Oh, I want to make some popcorn, right? And we went right back to the stove and cooking on the grill and bringing in the smoker. If anything, we enhanced the need for our stove and our grills and so on and so forth, because the microwave, which was great technology, showed us a flaw, that though it's quick, it don't necessarily mean it's better. So that's kind of how I relate technology. Is in the moment, technology is always hot. Remember when Facebook came out? I mean, some of us, let me age myself a little bit. I remember MySpace, okay? And I remember when MySpace got left by Facebook, right? When that transition happened. And Facebook was just a little grumbling. Next thing you know, it seemed like the next day, Facebook was like the baddest thing on the planet. And everybody had to be on it, right? But now look at Facebook today. Facebook today is not the same Facebook as the early 2000s, okay? Is it still on top? Is it the big gun? Yes. But we use it in so many different facets and so many different ways. They had to advance Facebook and adapt Facebook. That's what real estate agents are too. Is we just start to, as technology comes out, we utilize the technology that best fits. But then we start to adapt to what's best of using the technology and still doing our personal relationships and helping clients. Because when it comes down to it, you're going to have a robot show up at your court trial, or you're going to have an attorney or a team of attorneys show up to get you off a case. I don't care what nobody say. You'll never eliminate the real estate agent. You just might change the role a little bit or adapt it a little bit. But there's always going to be people that want to talk to the agent, that want to work with the agent.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody that they're going to always want somebody to call and ask questions and stuff like that.
It's always going to be those people.
Philosopher, what you think? Where do you think the technology of real estate is going for the real estate agent?
I think that I think the technology for the real estate agent is actually gonna try to take over, like Walt says, but we have to learn how to adjust and fine tune it. At some point, with artificial intelligence is actually gonna be the closest thing to knock the real estate agent, because AI is different from just in itself. Because AI it takes the information that we feed it, like the Alexa. Theory, but the more we use it, the more it adapts to what we want. And by it trying to help us so much that it will begin to think and do it itself. And once that really takes the place, then you won't just really need the agent, because you just use, hey, what's my name for real? Hey, Rick. Hey, Ricky, I'm ready to sell my home. Go ahead and list it. Ricky for real.
Ricky? Why he land on Ricky? Why you laying on Ricky?
Look,
Ricky.
I was about to say Ricky, Bobby.
Yeah, right. Like Boys in the Hood, like Boys in the Hood, Ricky. Like,
No,
what do you?
it's just something just so you can associate real to with the letter R, Ricky.
Yeah.
And you can say, Ricky, I'm ready to sell my house. List.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's listed. You know what I'm saying? Once that happens, because of the way technology is just everybody's just trying to get the next thing. We're now realizing that next thing is driving us further apart, further and further. Video chat was super duper fly. You know what I'm saying? Be able to see the person, talk to them. That's cool. But that's gonna replace you because they're not gonna need to talk to you anymore. Rick, hey man, drop the price on it. I ain't got enough offer.
So but see, I think the argument is, and this is where I think you'll always go back to the professionals. The argument is, if I'm that consumer and I say, Ricky, go ahead and list my house. Ricky has an algorithm that he's trying to figure out.
That is true. And guess who put the algorithm in?
We did.
We did, from all the information that we have been inputting into, and all the information that we have been inputting into the technology over the years.
Yes.
As you know what Gary has done with the new CRM that we have.
Yeah.
We're in the stages of, they want us to constantly put the information in, whether it be us talking to Kelly, whether it be us inputting the contract. They want us to keep putting this information in, because the more information we put in, the stronger Kelly will be and be able to deduct and reason the contract. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
But this is what I'm saying.
That ability to do that right there is one of the stages in the replacement.
But see, and the key to this, though, is just like he said, is I agree with everything he said, is there's still the human element.
It's always
that people are always going to want. They're always going to want to, because there's times where I'll go through a house and that house on paper fits everything they need. Pictures look great. Neighborhood is fine. But when they drove up, something about that house, something about that neighborhood. And there's times where I'll take somebody to another house that on paper seem like it should not fit. Like, this house should not fit, and it'll be just something that I say, you know what? You know, your kids, have you thought about your kids coming down for the graduation on this staircase? Or da-da-da-da-da. That one human element that they come in, they say, you know what? I never thought about that until you said it. And that's why I bought that house. So that human element, that's why I say I don't think we'll ever be gone. Okay? Even with Ricky and all
Ricky or Bobby.
Stuff, you know what I mean? I think what'll end up happening is, again, we'll have to adapt. There's certain things that Ricky will be able to do, and there's certain things that they still will want us to do.
Hey, because you love to bring up movies. Do y'all remember the movie Her?
No.
Her, yeah.
This movie was about a guy who fell in love with AI.
Yeah,
and
Joaquin
she was
Phoenix,
able to interact with him as a human being because she had been fed so much information because they were talking. They constantly talked every day. And it got to the point where she would turn on the lights, cook his food, start all this type of stuff. It's the basic stuff that we use Alexa for now.
Yeah.
But
cook his food.
Yes, because he had a total automated home. His home was automated, the whole house. So when he walked in,
that's how I want my crib.
When he walked in, the house will feel his body, his heat signature, and she comes on. Hey, welcome home. And he would talk. He would talk just like how we're talking, and the house would do all the things that he wanted to do. But in actuality, he was talking to the algorithm, which her, and by it doing that, he fell in love with this piece of technology, and that's why I can see us getting to that place. And he did it himself, not necessarily like that.
I'm looking at the clothes, and don't say what you thinking, because I know.
Hey, I was gonna go there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you still need that human element.
Okay, the idea of the fact that in some situations you don't, because they got some other stuff too. You know they got that other stuff.
It don't jiggle like that. It don't jiggle like that. You know what I'm saying?
So with that being said, because even though we have to feed the information, we can try to lessen it or decrease it or not, it's gonna pick it up because that's how we built it to do.
I don't doubt, eventually it may get something close to that, but we do have to remember that Her is a movie. Not really. You know what I'm saying? It's like Terminator. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's turning the metal and going and tearing up stuff or whatever the case may be.
Well, hey.
Did you know
200-300 years from now,
Did you know? Remember the movie The Bionic Man?
Uh-huh.
The Bionic Man was a quote unquote prototype for artificial limb.
Yep. What is his name? Lee Stevens or something?
The ability to put a piece of metal or equipment on you that will operate. When people who can't walk, they actually have a little brace that makes them help them walk. They actually make a little hand. They don't have hands. You hook up the neurons in their mind to help them to use their hands. That's what these things are doing.
Which that's cool. I'm not saying there's certain parts of it that won't be reality, but all I'm saying is that nobody's walking around talking about I'll be back. And you know what I'm saying? And that stuff has actually happened. They going tearing up the city and blowing up stuff and all this other stuff. That ain't happening.
I just want to hear it go. That's all. I just want to hear the sound effect.
Ain't nobody falling in love. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You may fall in love with the fact that you may be able to talk to something and may be able to cater to you, but you know what I'm saying? You still gonna need that human element. At the exact same way that you're gonna always need an actual real estate agent to talk to. But going back to what you said though, how is a seller gonna argue with Ricky? How is he gonna argue with Ricky? So you know what I'm saying? If he just says, "Hey Ricky, I want to list my property today. I want to list it at $500,000." Is Ricky gonna be able to tell him, "Hey, look, that's a little bit high"?
Yes.
I don't think you should.
Ricky's gonna say, based on the comparisons and the market research, says that your home will actually sell faster at this price point and at this way. And we'll be able to reason with the seller because he will say, well, the mortgage payment is XYZ, the light bill is XYZ, and so it will be able to, because of the information that's already been given it by the human.
Oh, we 100 years away from that. I'll be dead and buried by the time that comes along. But you know what I'm saying? We talking about the future, not that far in the future. I mean,
Don't get it twisted.
They kept talking about, you know what I'm saying? We supposed to have jets and cars. We supposed to be flying through the air and stuff around this time. Man, that stuff so far removed from now. You know what I'm saying? That stuff so far removed from now. That ain't happening no time soon. But I don't doubt technology is probably gonna get there. But anyways, let's wrap this thing. Let's wrap this thing up. Real talk takeaways. What you got, philosopher?
Man, technology is a wonderful thing as long as it is utilized in the way it needs to be used. Not to overtake, for the agent to not to do the basic things that allow agents to be an agent, which is a human, face-to-face, person-to-person relationship that's established, and allow technology to enhance it and to make the transaction or the communication smoother and easier.
Closer. What you got? Real talk takeaways.
I think that understanding technology is the key for both sides of the table, but also understanding the foundational things that got us to technology, because sometimes you might not have technology as your crutch to get things done, which goes back to the value or devalue as an agent. We control that. So it's most important for me to say that we got to stay on our game, adapting, continuing to educate ourselves, and continually to make sure that we're the value, that we're driving the technology ain't driving us. And as long as we do that, I think that we'll give proper service to any consumer anywhere in the world.
I love it. I like the way you put that. For me, I think technology is a great thing. I think it's a thing that's going to continually evolve. I think for real estate agents, as long as they find a happy medium between using technology and still keeping that personal touch, I think at the end of the day, the clients, the consumer is the one that wins, which that's the one that should be winning. But at the end of the day, everything is here to kind of make it more convenient, make the process better. Just use it responsibly. It's just like drinking. But anyways, we're going to get out of here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, anything that you want us to talk about, topics and that type of thing. Make sure you leave that for us as well. Private messages. Also, check us out. We on YouTube. We on YouTube as well. Check our YouTubes out, and make sure y'all subscribe, and we'll keep feeding y'all the content y'all need.
Yep.
All right, we'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
Later.